Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the NBA DFS Core Pick video for Wednesday, November 13th if you're joining me for the very first time. First of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over my core picks for both DraftKings and FanDuel. I will have an injury report listed in the morning. Keep in mind that there are a handful of teams on the back-to-back coming off the NBA Cup group play, so a lot of these injury reports are probably not going to go out until later on in the day. I'll try to post as many injury updates down there in the comment section as possible. We'll have an updated core prior to lock, and then typically I post the starting lineups at that point in time. I'll get to as many as I can get to. I do have a couple other commitments going on, so might miss some of them for this slate overall. So once again, do apologize for that. But without further ado, we'll get right into it with the DraftKings side. And we're going to start off at the point guard position with Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons, $9,000. Looking for at least 45 of them to pay off at 5 times value. It's been up over 50 like his last 4 or 5 games, so do definitely like the upside. Good matchup versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Damian Lillard is probably going to be out for this game with his concussion once again. And at this point in time, Cade Cunningham is averaging just over 47 fantasy points per game. Do currently I'm projected for about 49.50 in this matchup, so he's going to look really good as a high-end pay-up option just in general. Then we move down to shooting guard with Amen Thompson, assuming that Fred VanVleet's out for this game. So if Fred VanVleet plays, then obviously Amen Thompson's going to switch over to someone else. But at $5,800, looks like a pretty decent value, looking for at least 29 of them. Averaging about 24 on the season, but that is in the games that he's been mainly coming off the bench. So keep that in mind. More minutes to go around if Fred VanVleet doesn't play. Do have him easily projected for at least 31 fantasy points and does have some serious upside for more at the same time as well. Then we move down to small forward with Benedict Mathurin of the Indiana Pacers. $6,000 is what he's at right now. Looking for 30 out of him. He's been in the core picks a lot as of late. He's been playing really well, averaging just under 32 fantasy points per game. A little bit of a tougher matchup against the Orlando Magic just in general, but definitely do like his upside once again. Currently I'm projected for about 34, 35. Looks like a really solid play, and his price tag is not caught up to him at this point in time. And then speaking of another name that we've seen a lot in these core picks as of late, OG Anunoby of the New York Knicks. Back-to-back days of him being in the core picks. His price tag actually did go down, so $5,700. Looking for 28, 29 out of him. Currently I'm projected for about 33, but definitely does offer some pretty strong upside for more. It's a decent matchup versus the Bulls. Nothing special there to be had. Doesn't really help him. Doesn't really hurt him too much in that regard. And then last but not least, move down to the center position with Goga Bitadze of the Orlando Magic. $5,400 should be in that starting lineup once again. He's been up over 30 points his last 4 games, so definitely do like his upside. Pace-up matchup versus the Pacers, which typically helps the game script, might not necessarily help out Goga Bitadze. It is actually his former team, so if you're into revenge game narratives, you can definitely write that home a little bit as well. Currently, I'm projected for about 29, 30 points in this game, but definitely does have some pretty strong upside for more at the same time as well. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do currently have listed, you have $18,100 remaining, just over $6,000 remaining per player, so it looks a little bit more like a balance build type of day. Obviously, those injury reports, as they do come out later on the day, especially for the teams on the back-to-back, will dictate where the value is going to lie throughout this slate, so definitely keep an eye on that as the day gets moving along. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks over there as well. So on the FanDuel side, we're going to see some different names here. We're going to start off at the point guard position with Chris Paul. He's $5,900. Goes against the Washington Wizards, who he was briefly a member of their team, but that is a story for a different day. $5,900. Looking for 29, 30 out of him. Averaging just over 29 so far on the season. Definitely do like his upside in this matchup. If he goes out there, he plays the minutes, it's going to look pretty good. Both these teams aren't the greatest, but should be a relatively competitive game. So have him currently projected for 30 to 31 fantasy points in this game, but definitely has a little bit upside for more. Does have a little bit downside for less at the same time as well. Scottie Pippen Jr. was the other name that I was considering here, although his minutes were down in the most recent game, even with Ja Morant out. Then we move down to shooting guard with AJ Green of the Milwaukee Bucks. $4,100, looking for 20, 21 out of him. Averaging just under 12 so far in this season, but he's been playing bigger minutes. He was in the starting lineup for Tuesday's game. Kind of expect him to be in the starting lineup for Wednesday's game as well. Currently have him projected for about 22, 23. There might be another value that pops up later on in the day that looks a little bit better, so we'll keep an eye on that. But at least starting off the day looks like a really good value play at $4,100. And then we move down to small forward once again with Benedict Mathurin, $6,500. So a little bit more expensive on the FanDuel side. Still like him at this price tag. 32, 33 is what we're looking to get it out of him at the very least. Averaging 30 so far in the season. Obviously, some of those games were coming off the bench, playing a little bit less minutes. But since he's been in that starting lineup, playing really well, playing big minutes, so no real concerns there. A little bit of a tougher matchup against the Orlando Magic, but still do currently have him projected for about 34, 35 fantasy points in this game. If this game remains competitive, he could be a big reason why. And then we move down to power forward with Derrick Jones Jr. at $4,600. He's just kind of like my go-to kind of cheap guy at this point in time. He's probably going to get swapped out for a different value play that opens up throughout the day. But at $4,600, only looking for 23 out of him, averaging just over 20 on the season. The games where he does get decent-sized minutes, plays pretty well. So if he gets the minutes, you're probably going to get 26 out of him. If he doesn't quite get the minutes, you're probably getting like 18, 19 out of him. So he's not a guy that's going to completely kill you. He's probably not a guy that's going to set your lineup over the top. Keep an eye out throughout the day for another value option that could potentially open up. And then last but not least, we got Mason Plumlee. Joseph Nurkic did miss on Tuesday night. We'll see if that remains to be the case on Wednesday. If Nurkic misses once again, Mason Plumlee is going to look really good. $5,500, looking for 27, 28 out of him. Currently, I'm projected for 29, 30. It's an interesting matchup versus the Sacramento Kings, him and Domantas Sabonis. Not a bad matchup by any means, but definitely do like the upside of Mason Plumlee as a guy that can contribute in a lot of different categories at that center position. If Joseph Nurkic ultimately ends up playing in this game, we do have a couple other options at that center position. Andre Drummond could be an interesting one, especially if Joel Embiid misses the back half of the back-to-back, which I would assume is probably going to be the case since he had not played so far this season. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you have $33,400 remaining, just over $8,300 remaining per player. So definitely a good amount of money remaining. Definitely a lot of ways that we can approach the slate. Pay up for a couple guys, pay down for a couple guys, make a balanced approach. There's going to be a lot of different options out there. 11-game main slate on the FanDuel side. So feel free to mix and match as you do see fit. But with that being said, that's what I do have in terms of the core picks for both DraftKings and FanDuel. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Then once again, I'll be leaving the injury report down in the comment section during the morning. Obviously, keep in mind there are a lot of teams on the back-to-back, so those injury reports for those teams will be updated later on in the day. I'll leave an updated core probably about 20 to 30 minutes prior to lock, or as those changes do become available. I'll get to as many starting laps as I can get to tomorrow night. Unfortunately, I got a couple other commitments with one of my other businesses, so that might be a little bit more limited, so just keep that in mind. But with that being said, if you're brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, or if you yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have NBA DFS in terms of the core pick videos Tuesday through Friday, and then my NFL DFS player pool video dropping once a week, typically on Saturdays. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get to that last week, but did ultimately end up sharing that sheet over on my Patreon for free. So hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of that. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Parlay Play, and Prize Picks. If you're a brand new user on any one of those 3 sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's 100% match up to $100, and then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in NBA DFS for Wednesday, November 13th.